this episode. And hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm your host, Lisa, and my handsome co-host is my husband, Timothy.
All right. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. And what we got on tap today?
We have got the unidentified of the world.
John and Jane Doe's.
Yes.
All right. Before we get started, would you like to hear some crazy statistics?
Yes. I always love statistics.
Absolutely. Here's some things that I found very, very interesting in doing the research for this. Okay.
Okay.
So, as we were getting ready to do this, I just went in and did some double checking. And the crazy part about this is in the United States, um, at any given time, there's a lot of Jane and John Does, but
Mhm.
approximately 4,400 unidentified bodies are discovered in the USA each and every year.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Out of those, about 1,000 of those remain completely unidentified after a year.
Wow.
Right now, between Nameless and the Doe Network, and we're going to concentrate
On the
on
Doe Network.
the Doe Network today. There are currently 40 to 50,000 unidentified human remains nationwide.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I hope somebody out there listening hears something
Yeah,
that might spark something in it. These people need to be home.
yeah, they do. They need to be identified. Many of these cases are resolved due to lack of DNA matches. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a lot of challenges with that, but thankfully there's so many changes in technology. A lot of that is changing.
It's making it easier. People are finding people a little bit faster.
Here's another breakdown for you. Approximately 62% of unidentified individuals are male,
Oh.
while 38% are female.
Hmm.
Okay. And then when you break this down to racial and ethnic makeup, white individuals make up the largest group with around 58%. Black or African Americans account for 23%.
Hmm.
Hispanics represent roughly 16%,
Oh, okay.
while other groups, this includes Asians, Pacific Islanders, Native Americans, and Alaskan Native Americans, comprise a smaller percentage. Here are the states with higher numbers. California, that's just due to the population and density. Texas, Florida, New York, and Arizona, they've
Uh,
got a significant amount of cases. And these states combine high population with a big geographic and urban diversity. I thought that was kind of
that is
interesting.
kind of interesting.
Yeah. And here's some odd statistics for you. Some John and Jane Doe remain unidentified for decades. For instance, the oldest known unidentified case belonged to, you remember that little boy in the box that happened in Philadelphia back in the 50s, in the late 50s.
Really?
He was finally identified due to advances in technology in the forensic field. So he was
Oh,
finally found.
thank God.
Um, it's just crazy. And then some of these cases, they get buried and they get dug up multiple times. And because we're human, or these people are human, meaning well,
Mm-hmm.
it causes error. And there's a case in New York involved a Jane Doe some years back who was exhumed 3 times for DNA analysis, only to reveal her remains had been mislabeled during earlier tests.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Really?
High number of transient victims.
That makes sense though, but it's not right.
No. And a lot of these patterns in their passing or demise are due to homicide. And I just thought that was pretty interesting.
That is interesting.
So with that, let's dive right in now that I've give you some hard and fast statistics.
We will start off with number 193, UFNY. She is an unidentified female.
Okay.
She was discovered December the 6th, 1983 in Ellery, New York.
And just so everybody knows, they can go directly
To
to
the Doe Network.
and they can type in the number you just gave. What was it again?
193 UFNY and find her. And they say that she died just hours prior to being found. State of her remains, you could recognize her face. The cause of her death was homicide by gunshot. She was estimated between 30 and 37 years old. She's a white female, 5'4", 128 pounds. Her hair was brown, but it was graying. And she had no really distinguishing marks or features. But her identifiers, her dental work is available.
Okay.
She had a bridge work on the right side of her mouth, which appeared to be expensive and of European origin, particularly the gold material observed. And her fingerprints are available and her DNA is available. Her clothing, she was wearing a white V-neck camisole manufactured in Capri, Italy, and non-exportable. A green, brown, red checkered trench coat. They're saying that was expensive. Reversible to olive drab wool. Size 40. This size, interestingly enough, is unavailable in Canada and US. It must be European, possibly Italian. Their sizes follow a different scale than European sizes.
And one of the reasons we're going over the clothing and what she had on, even though this happened or she was discovered in 1983, maybe a family member recognizes that.
Yes, maybe, something. I mean, because some of this is not normal for here. I mean,
no, not in the least. It could be a family member. It could jog somebody's memory.
It really could.
Okay. So what else you got?
And she was wearing a blue-gray wool crew neck pullover.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a plaid wool skirt. And that looked like it was homemade. Wow. And it had various shades of brown, blue, and red. She had no jewelry. And there was no evidence that she had worn any jewelry before she was killed. And there was a handwritten note from the Blue Boy Motor Lodge in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Wow.
Abbreviations and numbers were present on this note, but the investigators have been unable to determine what they meant.
And again, a really good picture of her.
Uh-huh.
And the copy of that note are on the Doe Network website.
Mm-hmm. And the circumstances of her discovery were she was discovered in a ditch along Route 17, Southern Tier Expressway, eastbound lane in the town of Ellery.
Gotcha. Wow.
She was partially clad and was found by utility company employees at approximately 8:30. Doesn't say a.m. or p.m., but it says 8:30. Well, at the utility, probably a.m.
Yeah, I would think a.m.
And it looks like she had been shot once in the back, twice in the chest. Oh my goodness! And once inside the mouth. The county I can't pronounce. I'm going to give it a go ahead, and I'm going to try it, but I do not mean to mispronounce it. Chautauqua County. It's located in the westernmost part of New York State between Buffalo, New York, and Erie, Pennsylvania.
That would be the town of Ellery, New
Yep.
York. Okay.
It's believed the victim may have been from Canada or some European country.
Mhm.
However, there have been no reports of internationally missing individuals that appear to match the victim by her physical description, and her fingerprint searches have also turned up negative.
So more than likely, she probably is not from this country, from our country.
And the law enforcement state that she may have been essayed, yet it remains unconfirmed.
Okay. And again, folks, just so you know, that is from the Doe Network. Her case number is 193 UFNY. And you can at least go to the website, take a look around. You may recognize her, the note. That's been a minute, 1983, but there's somebody somewhere.
That's all. It's been 41 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
41 years. That is a
That
long
is
time.
older than my oldest child.
Yeah. And so from there, we're going to go over to Alabama. And this case number
is 2752.
no, is 24UMAL.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good gracious. I'm not letting you speak much,
No,
am
you're
I?
not going to let me get one in today, are you?
No, stop it. No,
Okay.
stop.
No,
Stop.
Stop.
No.
So 24UMAL, and the date of discovery was January 14th, 1977 in Tuskegee, Alabama, which is in Macon County. And it's estimated the date of his demise was around 16 months prior.
Wow. That is so. I'd wait until they hear this part.
Yeah. This one is just.
This one has touched my heart. And
too.
yours too.
State of remains were skeletal. A physical description, they believe him to be around 20 to 25 years old, more than likely white, male, 5'9" to 6 foot, weight around 135 to 155 pounds. His hair would have been dark brown, 3 to 4 inches in length, eye color unknown, no distinguishing marks or features. Dental records are available, upper and partial dentures, and a prosthetic upper right lateral incisor tooth. And that's what they have. Here's the clothing that he had. Faded glory flare bottom blue jeans with pockets in the front only. And of course, why not? It's 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, this happened in 1977.
Yeah.
They had 3 brass button colors, or 3 brass colored buttons on the front, waistband, which spelled out Faded Glory. They were a size 32 to a 33. And off-color white cotton pullover sweater with a rounded collar, medium size. And let me find my place here. Oh, yeah. Medium size shirt. Circus maximum was what the tag said.
So what?
Yeah. Circus maximum size medium. Royal blue stretch socks. A dark Oxford style shoes, size 8.5 to 9. The shoes had splatters of paint on them, which I found kind of interesting.
He might have been a painter.
Might have been a painter. And the shoes indicate an unusual gait, so he must have had like a limp or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The left heel's worn on the lateral aspect, and the right heel's also worn, but to a lesser degree. So he had an unusual gait. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, here's where this gets very interesting.
It's sad too, because to think,
yeah,
even though he died the way he died.
So his skeletal remains were located off I-85 on Wire Road in again Alabama. He was found sitting under a tree.
That to me is just
Yeah.
so. I mean, did he just
Well,
die sitting there?
here's what they think. He was around 103 feet from the roadway. Police believe he may have been waiting for a ride and may have died from a snake bite or maybe possibly had a heart attack. So this person, this man, sat under this tree for over 18 months
That
before
is
being discovered.
that's what's sad. That is so sad. It's sad that he died, but it's also to think he died sitting up.
No blood on his clothing or markings on the bones to indicate any type of foul play. And I guess at that time in 1977, let's say it had been a snake bite. 18 months later, he's been fully exposed to the
Mm-hmm.
elements. So how could they tell what would have been two puncture holes? I guess that would have been hard to do.
Because wouldn't you think he would have been really and truly decomposed?
Pretty much so. Pretty
And
much so.
so why would do they have snake bites? Snakes that would
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
okay.
So again, that's case number 24UMAL, and that happened in Tuskegee Macon County, Alabama.
And
So-
that's your one for tonight, dear.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
thinking.
Again, he was there for 18 months.
Sitting. I mean, and if he weren't that far from the road, why couldn't people see him?
103 feet. I mean,
That's not far.
and he just undiscovered. And the thing that makes you think through that is what was the scenario that led to that he's underneath that tree? I mean, what put him
Sitting there. I mean, because it's not like he fell there. It's not like somebody pushed him. Or, I mean, he was just
there?
I mean, I'm thinking more along the lines of a heart attack.
I don't know,
But somebody, if say he was waiting for somebody,
maybe
wouldn't they be looking at? Wouldn't they have?
Well, according to the way he's dressed, faded glory jeans, a nice pullover. I mean, this guy wasn't badly dressed. I mean, there's no indication here that he would have been transient. I mean, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder.
It
But
does.
again, that's in Macon County, Alabama, and he was discovered on January 14th, 1977. Again, that case number is 24 UMAL, and you can look these numbers up on the Doe Network. And there's also some reconstruction pieces there that can give an idea of what he may have looked like.
Anybody missing somebody from there for that long, check them out.
Yeah. And then that moves us to
The one I was trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. I was jumping ahead of myself.
You were.
But the next one, then it is 2752 UMFL. And this is an unidentified male. And he was discovered September the 25th, 1988 in Claremont, Lake County, Florida. And they estimate his date of death to be around 8 months prior. He was not recognizable. He was mummified, more or less.
Yeah.
And they undetermined, and they suspect it being homicide. And it could be what we're getting ready to get into, why he was homicide.
I think so.
And the estimate, his age was, he was between 22 and 35 years old. He was white. And this is why they're thinking, because back then in the 80s, it's not like it is now, but he was a transgender female. He was assigned male at birth, and he later underwent gender confirmation surgery. And his height was between 5'9" to 5'11" and roughly 170 pounds. His hair was brown, long, and bleached blonde. His eye color was unknown, and his distinguishing marks. He was presumed to have undergone gender reassignment surgery, likely being performed in 1984 or prior. Had 250 cc, how do you say it, celastic
Mm-hmm.
breast implants that were discontinued in 1983.
And, something I probably should have researched. When I was in the medical field, breast implants had serial numbers.
They
So,
did, so why
so
haven't they?
well, I don't know if they had serial numbers back then,
Yeah, well, that's true.
and they were discontinued. So I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
Well, that would still have a serial number on it, especially if it had a serial number back then. But I would think even back then they had serial numbers.
I would have guessed, but anyway.
And he had long manicured nails, and there was evidence of hormonal treatment. Robust, athletic build, possibly healed fracture of anterior left seventh rib. He had a healed fracture of the right cheekbone, secondary to blunt trauma. A healed fracture to the right fifth toe. Oh boy, we know about toes. Me and my toes.
Yeah.
And there was evidence of a surgical rhinoplasty.
So they had a nose job as well.
Yes, he did. He had his dental records are available, his fingerprints are available, and his DNA is available. And the way they found him is a passerby looking for cypress wood to build lawn furniture discovered the deceased remains in a wooded area in the green swamp area known as Four Corners in the vicinity of Highway 474, 4 miles east of Highway 33.
Mm.
It also appeared that the body had been dragged from the roadside to the location it was found, and the victim's pantyhose and skirt had been rolled down, indicating a possible SA.
But I question that a little bit. I mean,
Why?
now with this case, we've got a scenario here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Because where we grew up years ago, we would refer to them as cross dressers, but they're transgenders used to walk up and down Queen Street. Where we're from. Okay. And if you remember, some guys picked up, they were so-called ladies of the evening.
Yeah, I remember that.
Even though they were male, picked the lady of the evening up and took her to another part of town, realized it was indeed a male, and harmed them.
Yes.
Okay. Trying to be careful because they didn't realize. So I guess that's my point of reference, and that's what I'm wondering here, and where it's possible they were a victim of a assault, SA.
Yeah.
It does say they were dragged.
It does say they were dragged. They might have been dragged there. And
is that not how your pantyhose and skirt could be rolled all the way down?
Well, they could be, but it depends.
Because if you were a victim of SA, would they take time to roll your stuff down?
No, but also think about it. I mean,
I'm just thinking out loud.
I know, but they would probably have done that too, especially if they were expecting one thing, got another. They got frustrated, killed them, drug them, and then they could have SA'd after.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
But initially, the deceased was believed to be a cisgender woman, and it was thought she had given birth. But when her remains were tested again, the DNA revealed that the deceased was a transgender woman who had gender reassignment surgery, which was uncommon for the era. That's what I was saying. It was not.
Well, see, and that's another thing I got an issue with. Okay. Your pelvis is wider than mine
Mm-hmm.
because you're built that way to give birth.
Mm-hmm. Depends though. Some women could have smaller pelvises. They can't give birth. They have to have C-sections.
Maybe.
So, I mean,
Maybe.
and she is also known as Julie Doe.
Hmm.
In 2018, it was announced the DNA Doe Project would take on the case to identify potential relatives of the victim. And the first two rounds of extraction were unsuccessful, and the third is pending after additional fundraising. Isotope testing performed by the University of South Florida indicated the victim was most likely native to South Florida before her death. His death.
Yeah. That's
It's sad.
that is very sad. Very
But
sad.
see, that's what I was saying. I'm thinking she was more likely homicide because of once they sing and really,
Yeah.
because back then people did not take it as good as they do now.
Yeah. Well, again, that case number
It's
on
2752 UMFL.
and if you're listening to this and any of this jogs a memory for you, please contact the proper authorities.
Mm-hmm.
These people deserve to be given a name, a proper burial. Their families need closure. They
The
deserve
family
this.
needs closure and they need a proper burial.
Absolutely. They just do. They just do. And with that, guys, we're going to go into our first break and we will be back
In 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And we're back. So let's just dive right on in.
All right. Next case is unidentified female, and the case number is 1804 UFTX. And the date of discovery for this young lady was January 29th, 2020.
Oh.
She was discovered in Missouri City, Fort Bend County, Texas. And they estimate her DOD as around 2019.
Oh.
State of remains were not recognizable, just partial skeleton parts, really. And
Oh,
her
wow.
torso was not recovered.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so she had been,
She'd been there for at least a year, more than likely.
but if her torso, she'd been chopped.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It sounds that way.
Oh, my goodness.
One or more limbs not recovered. One or more of her hands not recovered. And I'm going by the wording here, but that so either they found her hand or they didn't.
Oh, my goodness. That's,
Okay.
it sounds like somebody tried to cut her up.
That's what it sounds like. Or possibly
The elements.
the wild animals.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't factor that out. I mean,
I know, you're right.
just like the fella from Alabama that we talked about, is I do find it kind of odd that
No animals.
no animals at
or
all.
nothing. Yeah.
The estimated age of this young lady was between 12 and 18, and they think her race could have been Hispanic, Latino, American Indian, or Native Alaskan, or a combination.
Oh, okay.
Height and weight couldn't be determined. Her hair was brown, long, and dark. Of course, eye color unknown, no distinguishing marks. Identifiers dental unknown, fingerprints unknown. Okay. The clothing that they could find was a black bra and blouse, an earring, and that looks like a little ball earring,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And there were no other personal articles there. Okay.
Yeah.
And partial remains of this young lady again, possibly Hispanic or Native American. They believe she was 12 to 18, and she was found near a jogging trail.
Oh,
Okay. And unfortunately, that's all the information that we have
that's sad.
regarding her. And again, her case is 1804 UFTX. And she was discovered January 29th, 2020, Missouri City, Fort Bend, Texas. And that's wow. I mean,
That
that's,
is wow.
and that, I mean, this is a baby. Far
She is
far
baby.
as we're concerned, our age, this is a baby. And why isn't and maybe they have been looking for her. I don't know. I don't want to jump to that conclusion, but it just makes me wonder, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2020, ain't that
And no, we had a lot of. So yeah, it makes you really.
so? If this rings a bell, anybody in that area
Please,
that knows of
please,
anybody that went
please
missing, please.
let the family, let her rest in peace.
Absolutely. And with that,
We will go to the next one.
all
And
right.
this case number is 1528UFFL. She is an unidentified female, and she was discovered April 19th, 1971 in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Her estimated date of death is unknown, and she was not recognizable. She was decomposing and putrefaction. Well, that's how she was found. She was decomposing.
Petrified. Where you see that? Petrified?
It's putrefied.
Putrefaction.
Yes. And the cause of her death is unknown. And she is estimated to be between 18 and 25. She was Hispanic, a female between 5'4" and 5'8". And her weight is unknown, but she was described as heavyset or large build, and her hair was brown. Of course, her eye coloring is unknown. And her distinguishing marks, there's a possibility that the deceased may have been stooped over, had a stiff neck, or had difficulty bending her head due to a congenital deformity of the neck vertebrae. And the second and third cervical vertebrae were fused, and there is no evidence of surgical intervention. Her dentals are available and her DNA is available, but her fingerprints are unknown. And what she was wearing, she had a Belinda brand bra made in Cuba. Her dress was multicolored, floral pattern design, pink, yellow, green flowers on a white background. The shifter dress had buttons down the front. Police tracked the dress in 1971 and determined that it may have been given to a woman possibly named Donna. A multicolored heavy neck cardigan was also found with her remains. She had no jewelry and then no additional personal items. And she was discovered at Southwest 195th Avenue and Old Cutler Road by mosquito control workers at approximately 9 a.m. on 4/19/1971.
Wow.
I know.
So they tracked down the shirt,
They did.
possibly given to someone named Donna.
If you know a Donna that's missing, check her out.
And so she had a deformity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And see, that's where it was fused. That could be.
Yeah, that's.
And again, her case number is 1528 UFFL.
You know, these cases are it's pretty interesting. It's amazing the length of time that some of these have gone.
It
by.
is, yes.
So the next case we're going to actually go to North Carolina.
Okay.
And this case number is 564 UFNC.
Oh.
Date of discovery was December the 2nd, 1991. Today is her anniversary date of being discovered.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad she was discovered, but I hate that we don't know who she is.
Yeah. She was discovered in Hubert County, which is Onslow County, not too far from us.
No, not at all.
They estimate her DOD as 1 to 3 years prior. Okay. Partial skeletal remains were discovered. Her cause of death is undetermined, but it is presumed to be a homicide.
Okay.
She was estimated to be an age of between 20 and 30 years old. White female, 5'1" to 5'2". Weight is unknown, but it's estimated she was of slight build. Again, her hair color is unknown because of the length of time, and eye color unknown. Okay. And here's some distinguishing things about her. She had possible back or neck problems, a fusion of C2 and 3, slight arcing in C1. Medical examiners found the woman had a degenerative bone disease in her neck that she probably didn't even know about.
Oh.
Okay. Dentals, they are available. Upper jaw, right third molar was erupted, left previously extracted with an incomplete healed socket. Tooth 8 had a facial decomposite, a tooth colored restoration for a chip in the tooth, a little wear on the teeth, some periodontal disease, but not much. Her lower jaw has never been recovered.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sad. This is really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Gray or brown crew net sweater with gold thread, dark blue or black stretch pants, slacks, elastic pantyhose, or long-legged leotard. So
Yeah.
leggings, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Or what we would consider leggings now. Again, this was in 1991.
Okay.
A pair of synthetic white slip-on shoes with a small bow were found nearby. Labels from necessary objects, limited, and 1045 Paris were also observed on the scene. So, no jewelry.
Mm.
She was located in a wooded area by local hunters near Bear Creek Road and Stewart Point Road. Again, December the 2nd, 1991.
Wow.
The hunters stumbled upon a skull while looking for raccoons. The majority of the woman's skeleton was found 40 yards away or from where hunters found the skull.
Wow.
Based on the clothing she was wearing, investigators believe she died in the fall or wintertime, most likely between 1989 and 1990. And her remains had been on the scene for a period of time before they were discovered. A cause of death could not be determined because there was no detectable injuries. They couldn't find anything. However, the woman in 2020, it was announced authorities had reported to reopen the victim's case. And so now some new reconstruction was released. There's a lot of pictures of her.
Oh, so please take a look.
Yeah. And they believe at this point they probably have got a really accurate description of her. So again, folks, this would have been Hubert, North Carolina. Her case number is 564 UFNC. And that she was discovered on December the 2nd, 1991. And she possibly met her demise in 1989 or 1990.
That is so sad. Yeah. That's how, not saying, but that's murderers. They do get away with a lot.
They do. And they do believe this was likely a homicide. Somewhere in there, potential leads to Florida and Texas were investigated in 2009, but they proved to be unsuccessful in identifying her.
Okay.
And then again in 2020, her case was reopened.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
further tests are in progress to determine the woman's eye and hair color and perhaps conduct a genetic genealogy research to identify potential family members.
I hope they can do that for
And
all of
right
these.
now, yeah, I do too. Police are offering up to a $2,500 reward for information leading to her identity.
Wow.
So I found that
Very
very
interesting.
interesting.
Yes.
And with that,
And with that, we'll do the next one, which will be case number 474 UFNC. And it's an unidentified female. And she was discovered April 28th, 1968, in McCullers, Fuquay, Varina, Wake County, North Carolina. And her estimated date of death was one day prior, so April 27th, 1968. The state of her remains, her face was recognizable, and her cause of death is unknown. She was estimated to be between 35 and 45 years old. They believe she was white with a very slight possibility of Native American mixture. She was between 5'2" and 5'4", 130 pounds. She had black hair with some dark brown and occasional gray. And her eye color is unknown. And distinguishing marks, she had small ears.
yeah,
And she had a surgical scar below the left side of her navel. And her blood type is A positive. And her dentals are available. She's missing teeth number 1, 16, 19, and 32. And she had fillings in teeth number 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 29, and 31. And her crown fractured on tooth number 30. And her fingerprints are available, and her DNA, she's got blood card and hair samples that are available. And she was wearing a green and white polka dot dress or blouse with a zipper, brown Italian loafer style shoes, size 7.5. They couldn't determine the manufacturer, and it appeared to be a cheaper brand in the range of $4 to $10. Women's greenish blue all weather coat with gray lining and remnants of what appeared to be undergarments and pantyhose. And it's unknown if she had any jewelry or not.
yeah,
And then it says on the April 27th, 1968, a woman in a green and white polka dot dress was seen walking down 1010 Road in McCullers community near Fuquay Varina in southern Wake County, North Carolina. A witness says her mother and sister saw the woman as they drove toward a church up the road. And when they came back 15 minutes later, they saw a fire burning in the field.
Mm.
That is. The woman believed a farmer was burning something until the next day when the woman's body was discovered in that spot. A suspect in the case died in 1992. The suspect planted tobacco in Canada.
yeah. I've got a little more information on this one.
Okay, well, do you want to fill in or wait?
I'll go ahead and fill in. Here's what I think has happened. I mean, the thing that caught me about this case, and I'd actually read about this one before. The suspect, he and a friend drove back to get a good look at the woman.
Uh-huh.
Why? Why? Why don't you just keep on riding?
Yeah, leave her
Okay.
alone.
So the fire was a hot one, and gas cans were found close by. Okay.
Was this woman burned?
Yeah, she was set on fire.
Okay.
Everything that was set on fire. Here are a list of items that surrounded her. Okay. A transistor battery,
Uh-huh.
2 metallic buttons, the top of a Unipeco ballpoint pen, dry skin cream, overnight medicated cream, liquid makeup, remains of a perfume bottle, metal tubes, hair clips, a green blue hairnet, a wire frame for makeup mirror, glass shards from a makeup mirror, a wrapped razor blade, pair of tweezers. So that kind of looks like that almost looks like somebody took a pocketbook and dumped it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, the interesting thing is on that afternoon, April 28th, 1968, I've actually got some names for you.
Okay.
Lynn Enos and J. Lee Atkins were touring a farm and saw the fire. Okay. So a lot of people saw this fire.
Okay.
And I won't go into detail about the suspect here because the family of the suspect has raised a lot of cane regarding some things that have been said. So I won't go into detail there, but there is a speculation that maybe this woman wasn't from here.
Uh-huh.
She could have been from Canada.
Yeah.
The suspect was a known womanizer. Okay. And what they stated was they went back to see the woman because they weren't sure if maybe she was a streetwalker.
Uh-huh.
Okay. This is a very rural area at the time. Maybe they like, good God, there's a woman down there. I get to say that because we're from the South. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened. But she was laying face down and she was badly, badly burned. I mean, the fire was super, super hot. And a lot of things were found. And like we went over, and they just they can't identify her. This is one of North Carolina's oldest cases right here.
Mm-hmm.
And they
But
just can't.
see, they interviewed that suspect, and yeah, no, he admitted they drove up the road to get a look,
Yeah.
but told detectives that she had vanished when they got there.
Yeah, she was gone. He was with a friend, and like I said, I've got their names, but I won't mention them because
Yeah.
the way the families have been.
But now the whereabouts of the deceased's remains are unknown.
Yeah.
But the investigators have hair and blood samples from the original investigation.
Yeah.
But now, how are they lost them?
Well, from 1968 to now. Okay.
I feel sorry for that one.
I do too. I do too. It's just crazy. I mean, there's a lot that could be said there about where those remains are. I won't get into that for reasons.
Okay.
Okay. But with a little bit of digging, all this information is online in a certain subreddit, and
Uh-huh.
it can be found under the subreddit Grateful Doe. I mean, that's all. It can be. It can be found.
I didn't
It
hear
can be
what you
found.
said.
Okay.
I'm not listening to you right now.
But no one has came forward to identify this woman at all, and her remains, or what was found, have been buried in a potter's field somewhere in Raleigh. Okay.
But they shouldn't. I mean.
Yeah. I mean.
They should have been where they should have been. There should be notes, files.
But there is strong evidence that more than likely she was probably Canadian. She may have connected with the suspect, may have,
Mm-hmm.
and it may be she realized this was not a good fit, got mad, stormed off on foot.
Yep.
Maybe there was some retaliation. Either way you go, she was set on fire. There's no getting
around it, and there's no excuse for it.
Yeah. And the suspect had previously planted and primed crop tobacco in Canada. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of speculation that she was indeed from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So if we've got any of our Canadian friends listening, does any of this ring a bell? You got a grandma, a great grandma that might have went missing around the late 60s that you've not heard of or found.
Yeah,
There's a possibility
it could
that
be
this could
her.
be her. And lot of information here.
But we just can't go into it all.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, if you will go to the way this can be, the way it can be found, man, I'm struggling here. You can type in Wake County Jane Doe, and the first Reddit forum that you find, you can research it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll let whoever decides to do that, please do.
Because
that.
we're not going to get in trouble for any names.
Yeah.
But I just wish, I pray this woman gets closure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
She deserves.
but some of her makeup came from New York. The pen would have come from New York. So she could have been from New York, maybe Canada, maybe New York. Um, it's just you don't know. No.
Mm-mm.
And this is one of those things when we decided to set out and do this. This is one of those things that you don't see a lot of podcasts on.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Until we started doing this, I'd never heard of her.
Yeah.
I'd never heard anything about it.
Yeah, well, you don't see a lot of you hear about a lot of the missing, and you know how I feel about the missing person cases.
Mm-hmm.
Feel very strongly about it,
Same way I do.
but I also feel very strongly about the
These
unidentified.
people need names. They need their identity given back to them.
And again, all of this information can be readily found on the Doe
Doe
Network. And her case number again,
474 UFNC.
all you have to do is type that in the search bar and you can read all about it. And with that, I think that brings us to the end of our podcast.
And we hope each and every one of you has a Bucklesberry lemonade kind of day.
And join us next time
on the Bucklesberry Lemonade podcast.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.